What's up, guys? Um, yeah. Hi. It's Saturday, and we're gonna be doing some more auto build reviews in this here Wrath of the Righteous thing. I got a little bit worried when I loaded up the game today because I realized that my normal auto build saves did not actually have Trevor recruited on them. So I had to go through a bunch other saves and scrub through them to see if we had them. Fortunately, my most recent playthrough, I did get Trevor recruited, so we do have him available here today. But yeah, we're gonna be looking at Greybor and Trevor today, the last two living companions for our party. I have realized far too late at this point that I probably should have used last week and this week to go over the undead companions instead, but ain't nothing I can do about that. So we are going to get started with Greybor. So, respect. So, first off, background. Mercenary, adds knowledge world. Light armor, spears, long spears, and javelins. I feel like Slayer already has martial proficiency. Yeah. So, the weapons don't matter. I feel like Slayer probably also has knowledge world as one of their yeah, they already have knowledge world as their class skill. She's a living companion. Is there a living version of her? I only knew about the undead one. If there is a living version of the queen, I do not have a save file with that character because I didn't even know that it existed. And to my knowledge, I can't just like add a companion character to the party via toy box. So I would have to get a save. Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, I would have to get a save where she is unlocked. I do not have one active or available. But yeah, I'll look into that. That's knowledge world. Yeah, so this is just another useless background. Once again, level 14 paladin. Okay. Level 14 when you get into fucking... Anyway. When you're going into threshold, huh? That's kind of stupid. But anyway. So we start off 2-weapon fighting, double slice, weapon focused dwarven axe, weakening wound. I actually kind of like weakening wound. Especially now that I know that greater magic weapon doesn't bypass DR. This means that if you combo this with better weapons that just, you know, weapons that have better effects that just don't quite have that, you know, +4, +5. Just turn on. I know. I just feel like at threshold, the starting level should be a fair bit higher than level 14. But then again, if she starts at a higher level, then she's locked into a whole lot more and you can't really customize her at all. So actually, I think it's probably better that she starts at like level 14. I just found that very strange because Trevor comes in at level 14. And you meet him at fucking the Battle Bliss, right? So yeah, weakening wound is actually like a really good one, especially if you have like a... Because I think there's like a few +2 and +3 weapons that just have really fucking good effects. But they're never going to get over those DRs, right? So... or they're never going to bypass those DRs. So comboing this with those types of weapons is actually really important. Accomplished Sneak Attacker is great because he does have a slow... Slayers do have a slower sneak attack progression. So that's good. Improve 2-weapon fighting. Yep. Hammer the Gap. Slow reactions. I don't really like slow reactions at all. I feel like you should be taking things that are either going to just cause the person to die faster or that do something else. Enemies just don't have nearly as many opportunities to trigger attacks of opportunity as they did in like Kingmaker, where there was a ton of like wolves and canine enemies that would trip your ass, and then you would just get exploded the instant you tried to stand up. That's why I don't usually try to go for slow reactions in this game, is just because I don't see them making use of it as much. Going back to Hammer the Gap. He is a full BAB dual-wielding character. But even still, despite that, I still think that Hammer the Gap is not a good feat. As I always go back to, you're buffing the damage of attacks that are less likely to hit. Come on. Oh, all right. Hey, buddy. And then at level 9 we get power attack. So most of these, I'm not a huge fan of Hammer the Gap and slow reactions, but beyond that, this is actually like a really good build thus far. And I do believe, if I remember correctly, oh shit, we don't have auto builds turned on. Boring as a character, sir. We're gonna fight. We're gonna fight. I love Greybor. All right, so here we go. Then we get greater 2 weapon fight. Hi. And we gain access to advanced talents. Just kill him. Ooh. Greybor, so it does waste a feat. But Greybor with throwing axes is like incredibly good. That's what I always used him with. Because I always felt that Greybor was a bit too squishy in melee combat. So yeah, I would just give him throwing axes and he fucking destroyed people. It was great. All right, let's get these mythics done. So we get defensive study. I'm not okay. So let me just go back and just make sure that I know exactly what this does. Gains a +1. Damage rolls into character saves increases by 1. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so that would be at max level. That's a +5 to AC for defensive study. Obviously, if you're going with the auto build, he's going to be in melee range because you're going to be using Dwarven War Axes and stuff. I just... like, the study target thing, that's a things per day thing, right? You can't just do that forever? I can't remember. Let me just double check. Oh, no, maybe you can just do it forever. You can't spam it? Okay, never mind. Never mind. That gets rid of my criticism. Because I was gonna say I thought for whatever reason I was thinking that study target was a limited You know, like times per day equal 3 plus your wisdom mod or whatever the fuck. You know, one of those kinds of things. If it's just a spammable ability, that's quite a bit better. But another, like, it goes back to, this is a lot better in turn-based than it is in real time. In real time, you're not really going to be wanting to constantly be going back to Greybor and using study target on literally everybody that he fights. That's a lot of micromanagement for a single unit. Like, I tend to use my melee units as just auto attackers, and then I tend to micromanage my casters quite a bit more. Unless I have a Cavalier, in which case the entire bit of combat is me running away and charging in and running away. Over and over and over again. Turn-based? Yes, yeah, and like... I don't think that I say this often enough in these streams, but I definitely go off of my own experience. I have not played turn-based on any of these games since the very first time I played through Kingmaker, which was over 2 years ago now. First time I ever played through Kingmaker, I played on turn-based. Ever since then, I've always played real-time. And in real-time, you just don't do those, like, swift actions nearly as much. You'll use it on bosses and stuff, but, like, you're not going to pop it on literally everybody that you fight. So that makes defensive study far less useful in real time than it is in turn-based. Because in turn-based, there's literally no reason not to, right? If you don't on turn-based, especially once it becomes a swift action, if you're not doing it on turn-based, you're just kind of fucking up. Two-weapon fighting mythic, yeah. Yeah, 100%. Rupture Restraints, I've talked about it before. I fucking love Rupture Restraints. It's one of the best defensive mythic abilities that you can pick up. Alright, so back here, we got Improved Critical Dwarven War Axe. Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Dwarven War Axe, is that a ×3? I feel like that's a ×3. It is? Okay. Yeah, 20 ×3. I'm amazed that I remembered that. I never fucking use them. It is a ×20, or it is a nat 20 only crit range. But you get a lot of feats here. Right. Because there's not too many great Slayer talents. Like, look at this. Almost all the ones that have been taken have been extra combat feats. So, yeah, we have access to a lot of them. There's really no reason not to take Improved Critical, so I'm perfect. Oh, yeah, we haven't looked at his skills yet. Athletics, mobility, stealth, and perception. Yes. Yes, these are good. These are all good ones. Perception, it's good to have perception on basically everybody that you have an extra point to put in and you're not sure where to put it. Put it in perception. Just in case everybody else rolls a nat 1 or something. It doesn't, like, it's just always good to have. Yeah, athletics is good. Mobility, yeah. All good. All good. All good. And then, yeah, looking at this, we got strength, dex, con, intelligence high enough to qualify for combat feats, for the extra combat feats, and a little bit of higher wisdom. We could have probably dropped his charisma down a bit. I feel like that would make sense. Oh, yeah, because they put it up to 12 because he's a dwarf, so he's got a minus to it. Could have actually dumped charisma to get those points into other things. Power attack mythic is great. We don't quite get as good of a benefit as somebody who would be using a two-handed weapon. Does have that deep voice in the pipe. Yeah, well, like, I was thinking about even in roleplay, he's not really that charismatic. Like, he's a very, very blunt character. He's like, I don't give a fuck. I am who I am. If you got a problem with it, we're gonna have a problem, but I'm probably gonna kill you. He's kind of got that kind of deal. And I've always played like hyper blunt characters as characters that have very low charisma, because they just don't care. What the? Why are you stuck on this? Let me get rid of this. That was bothering me. But yeah, like, I had a character that I kind of played a little bit like Greybor. Like, no nonsense, doesn't give a fuck. He'll just say what he says, and he'll do what he does, and he doesn't care if that's okay with other people. And that character had a 5 charisma, and that's why I was playing him that way. Is because we rolled for stats, and I rolled a 5 for one of them. So I put that into charisma because he was a druid or a ranger, I can't remember. He was a druid, that's right, because I made him a Saurian shaman because dinosaurs are fucking cool. But anyway, yeah, power attack mythic, really fucking good. Opportunist. I do not like opportunist. He does care about your opinion. His reputation is everything to him. He doesn't care about what people think about him personally. He cares about how people think of him professionally. It's a slight difference, but it is an important one. He cares about his business reputation. He doesn't give a fuck if you think he's a good person. That kind of a thing. Is what I was trying to get across. But yeah, opportunist sucks. I do not like it. Obviously, it can be taken, replaced with a teamwork feat, because it does the exact same thing as well, it does a similar thing, right? Because those are crits, as outflank and seize the moment. But yeah, I would much rather see Wearying Strike here, or what's the other one? Crippling Strike. Either of those I would be much happier to see. I just don't like Opportunist. Now, part of that is bias. I have bias against this, because the first time I saw this, or the first time I chose this, I picked this on Knock Knock. Way back in the Kingmaker days, I picked this on Knock Knock. And I don't think either I was just an idiot and I didn't read the entire description, or this last sentence here didn't exist in the description in that game. And I got so mad when he was only getting one opportunity, attack of opportunity from this per round. Because I thought that we were just going to fucking be machine gunning out like 12 attacks of opportunity per round. And just turned Knock Knock into an absolute fucking like eldritch monstrosity of damage. But no, it's only once per round. Sucks. Critical focus. I was okay with improved critical. I'm not okay with critical focus. Honestly, dodge, Ironhide. Like, I would start taking AC boosting feats here. Especially since at this point, like I mentioned earlier, I feel that Greybor is very squishy in melee combat. So I feel like he could make real good use out of those AC. So yeah, things like dodge, armor focus, and Ironhide, I would definitely take those over things like critical focus. This is like one of the few times where you will hear me advocating for defensive feats over offensive ones. Hey, there's crippling strike. I love seeing these. I love these so much. I probably... How about toughness? After getting the AC ones, I wouldn't be against it, honestly. Like, that's how hard it was for me to keep this little bastard alive. He just refused to stay on his feet. Now, if I were to choose between crippling and wearying strike, I would definitely take wearying strike over crippling. Wearying strike is more consistently damaging to the enemy, because if it's like a spellcaster, they're not going to give a damn if you're dropping their strength, right? So, just loves the dirt that much? Yeah, I guess. I mean, he is an assassin. He's not really built for straight up combat, right? He's a stab and go kind of guy. But yeah, so if you're fighting like a caster, I mean, fuck, Arilu at the end, you know, she's a spellcaster. She's gonna be casting a whole bunch of spells, teleporting all over the place. Crippling strike doesn't hurt her that much, whereas wearying strike drops her max health every time you take do a tick of damage, right? I hope that we see both of them, but if we were to only take one, I would take wearying strike. Always a chance is trash. We talked about this with Arushalae last week. It's one of the biggest traps in mythic levels, because at best it removes a 5% mischance. At best, it removes a 5% mischance. At worst, it does literally nothing. Honestly, best jokes on Greybor would be almost as useful as always a chance. Last stand, leading strike, thundering blows even. Excuse me. Sickening critical. If we're only going for one critical feat, this is the best one. So I am happy to see this one at the very least. But this is now 3 feats that we've invested into a very narrow crit range weapon. Not a huge fan of that. They tend to do this a lot. Flawless attacks. This does boost up the viability of Hammer the Gap. We don't have greater weapon focus, so this isn't that great. Destructive Shockwave could be good. But I think, you know what? Honestly, I think Flawless Attacks is probably one of the better ones here. There's some gloves that gives free sicken status if you use Quarry. Are there? I did not know about that. I did not know about that. There's no save? Oh, wow. Interesting. I was about to try and look them up. I'm like, I don't even know what the hell they're called. But counter argument, the fact that I did not realize that those existed mean that they are missable. In the village with the hags? Oh, okay. Okay. But yeah, the fact that that is a missable item does mean that if you don't get that item for whatever reason, you know, you just because actually, if you don't talk to that priest in Canabras, you don't get that village on your map. It doesn't show up. My original playthrough, I didn't even know it existed because I missed that priest in the Canabras Inn, and it never popped up on my map. So you can't very easily miss those if you just miss that NPC. So I so yeah, I think if you have those gloves, obviously yes, you're not going to want to use the sickening one. If you don't have those ones though, I think the sickening one is better than any of the others. The fatigue one is better if you then go into exhausting, but that is another feat that you have to take as well. Blinding strike sucks. Blinding strike sucks. It's a fort save on a crit. There's too many things that it requires. You should not take blinding strike. Don't worry about it. Just take wearying strike instead. It's better. Yeah. Oh yeah, we don't have dispelling attack yet. There's like so many good ones that we don't have yet, actually. Dispelling attack, wearying strike. Fuck, a familiar. Get you a hair familiar. Get this guy into combat earlier. No, it's not. I was shaking it. So there's ice in this soda that I ordered without ice because I'm a fat man and I wanted to have extra soda. Slippery Mind, although he doesn't have that much of a dex mod. He's only got a 16 dex. But yeah, like Wearying Strike, Dispelling Attack, and then one other one, right? Fuck it, go Improved Uncanny Dodge. Or Focusing Attack Infused. Unrelenting Assault, that's fine. Guarantees damage the first time you miss every round. And it's scaling damage. I think it's like 8d6 or something like that at this point. Oh no, I'm sorry. I was thinking Thundering Blows. I don't really like Unrelenting Assault because it's too slow for lower difficulties. Your enemies are going to die before this really stacks up that much. For a dwarf, yes. In general, not great. No, they don't. Dwarves have a minus to Constitution. I'm sorry, to Charisma, not to Dex. They have a penalty to Charisma. Or what? It's a boost to Con and Wisdom and a minus to Charisma. Their Dex is still 10. Here. See. No racial modifier. For Harem? Harem has a minus to Dex? I'll have to look at that. That's really weird if that's true. And Blind Fight. Are you... What kind of gaze attacks are you running into at level 17? The only one that I know of is the giant spider one. That's like the only gaze attack that I can think of off the top of my head. What does this do for you? Probably just dumped his dex and keep it. Maybe, yeah. Because, yeah, he does wear heavy armor, doesn't he? So it would make sense that they would dump his dex. Yeah, blind fight is trash. Get dodge. Get all the defensive ones that I was talking about. You know, when we were talking about sickening critical and critical focus. We could have 2 extra AC, 3 extra AC at this point. We could have a +3 to AC right now. If we were to have taken those, which makes him far more survivable, far more likely to, you know, be able to do damage. But no, let's give him blind fight for the one enemy that has gaze attacks in this game. Improved critical mythic. I think I probably would have taken mythic sneak attacker instead. Mythic sneak attacker is going to do more damage on average than improved critical mythic. You only have a 10% chance to crit on any attack, plus you have to confirm that crit to do the extra damage. Whereas mythic sneak attacker, you just have to hit. Yeah, I think I would prefer mythic sneak attacker to mythic critical. That is, by the way, that is now 4 feats that they have invested into a nat 20 only crit weapon. Ever ready? I guess that's fine. I mean, any attack of opportunity is now getting a +9 to attack and damage, so that's like crazy good, actually. And then, hey, we get Dispelling Attack. This is actually really, really, really good. This is really good. I wish we had gotten it back when we picked up Opportunist. But we have it now. We have it now, and that's the important thing. Steel Soul. A flat +2 to all saves is, like, really fucking good. And obviously, it's a racial bonus, so it stacks with everything else. I approve of this. It's not the AC, but it is going to be very useful for you, right? I mean, fuck, that's a... Why is that not showing up? Why are you not showing up? Oh, I guess it's because it's only against specific things. It's not against everything. Okay, that's fine. Last Stand. Okay. They got an extra mythic ability on this man. They got an extra... Motherfucker, you could have just gotten rid of Always a Chance. This is shit. This is shit. Get rid of this. Move Last Stand over here. And then get, the fuck was it? Mythic Sneak Attacker. And then Confounding Blades. Should be its first mythic ability. On higher difficulties, for sure. Even on normal, I probably would have taken it at, like, level 3. Well, I mean, granted, you're probably going to be... Yeah, you'll have level 3 by the time you recruit him regardless. So yeah, basically the instant you pick him up, you should have Last Stand. Yeah, I agree. This is now 2 that we've put into removing their ability to use attacks of opportunity. That's really shit. Like, here's a question for you. How often do you switch targets in combat in one round where the first target is still alive. Because for me, the answer to that question is never. So then, I expand upon that. How often do you attack one person one turn, leave them alive, attack another person the next turn, and then attack another person the next turn? Because that's the only way that Confounding Blades does anything. Is if you're switching off the target that you're hitting. Because otherwise, as long as you hit him a single fucking time with your sneak attack, they can't make attacks of opportunity. So this only takes advantage of somebody who is frenetically switching targets every turn. Every turn they're switching targets to somebody else. There's no reason for it. This is a useless talent. This is shit. It's trash. Don't use it. Especially since we still have Wearying Strike here that needs to be taken. Should never have Confounding Blades. I was arguing against slow reactions because I don't like that one in this game. There's no way in hell you should ever take Confounding Blades. Ever. But if we take a look back at this build, for the most part, for the most part, this build is pretty good. It invests too heavily in critical hits. It has blind fight because fuck it. And it takes some weird fucking Slayer talents instead of like the really, really good ones. My brain flatlined. Yeah, I would say so. Like, he's still definitely going to do the job on like normal difficulty, but there's definitely room for improvement. And unfortunately, one of the things that I would change, technically two of them, if we look at Hammer the Gap, is locked in before you even pick him up, right? Because he's level 9 when you recruit him, so you're locked into slow reactions no matter what else you do. That's a little bit unfortunate. Change his build to make him an assassin? Maybe. That would make sense. That would make a lot of thematic sense. That is quite a huge change to a character, though. That is quite a huge change to a character. I am going to run to the bathroom and grab myself another drink because my soda's empty. Need to change his attributes. Oh, yeah, for sure. Like, they would need to completely overhaul his entire character. But yeah, I'm gonna go to the bathroom and I'm gonna get a drink. I'll be back in just a minute, and then we will go into Trevor. This took almost no time at all. We got through this one in an hour. Excuse me. I think mainly it's because we've talked about all of these things already. Like, we've gone over all of the reasons why I don't like Hammer the Gap, all the reasons why I'm perfectly fine with like things like Power Attack and all this other stuff. Like, I've already explained myself so many times that I'm kind of starting to feel the need not to do it quite so much. I'm trying to still go into a bit of detail, but yeah. I will be back in just a moment. See you in a bit. Back. We're back. It's time to take a look at the final person in our party, Trevor. Oh, so I don't even have to respec him because I've literally never leveled him up. So, interesting. So he starts off. You come in and say hi again. What's it, bloody? Up. Hi. Hi. Back. Nope, we're not disabling automatic level up. All right, so what do we got? All right, so basic. Okay, so we start off going straight up to level 15. He has 4 classes. Oh, Jesus. All right. Well, hi. Okay, buddy. Come on, dude. I need you to chill. I need you to chill just a little bit. All right, buddy? All right, kitten? Okay, so first off, Paladin. He's got 2 levels in Paladin, which means he gets the most important thing about Paladin. Charisma 2 saves. That's great. Hell Knight. Got 3 levels in Hell Knight. Jesus Christ, this man has 4 fucking classes. Okay. Hell Knight. Get some armor trading, force of will, compulsion. We did talk about this. Whether it's charm, compulsion, or fear. Compulsion is like the middle one we talked about last week. So I'm very happy that we have this and not fear like we do on Regill. Fearsomeness. Trash. I hate it. I don't know why they chose this first for both of them. But goddamn. Can't use Smite Evil, can't still use Smite Chaos. That's good. Like, for the majority of enemies in this game, they are basically identical. So, and then for two-handed fight... This is disgusting. Only problem is this charisma. We will get to that in a moment. This is absolutely disgusting. For a two-handed weapon user, Hammer the Gap is fucking terrible. You're gonna have, at most, 4 attacks. 5 if you have haste. As opposed to, like, 8, 9... for... Because, like, with Greybor, you'd have 8, right? Yeah, because 5 main hand, 3 offhand. So 8 total attacks with Greybor versus 4, literally half. Or 5, if you have haste on. Bull Rush, which nobody ever uses. Weapon specialization. At least he's specializing in a good weapon. Falchions are really fucking strong. Double strength bonus instead of 1.5 times. So that's good. He's a strong boy. Yeah, that bit I'm fine with. That bit I'm fine with. And then we got Armored Hulk Barbarian, which we have powerful stance, melee damage rolls. Okay. Then we got Scent, which is fucking useless. And then here we got Power Attack, Heavy Armor Focus, Cleave, Cleaving Finish, Great Cleave, Improved Cleaving Finish, Jesus. Greater Bull Rush, and Improved Critical Falchion. Honestly, if we get rid of Hammer the Gap and Scent, choices wise, like feats and class abilities wise, those are like the only two that I would really get rid of. Well, Bull Rush, right? So Hammer the Gap, Bull Rush, Greater Bull Rush, Scent. So of all of these choices, those are the 4 that I would get rid of. And Barbarian Rage Powers, there's not that many great ones. So depending on how many levels we take in this, which I guess we'll find out, I'm kind of okay with that. So let's take a look. We got Athletics, Mobility, Knowledge World, and Lore Religion. Can't trigger attacks of opportunity for your other party member. Yeah. But on the other hand, this is, as we mentioned, this is a very strong boy who's running around with a falchion. Would we want to trigger attacks of opportunity on other party members? Or would we want to get a full round action off on this guy? Because I personally would prefer to get a full round attack off on this guy than attacking with most of the other characters. Improved critical falchion, we talked about that. And then, oh, so he gets nothing. He gets nothing. Okay. But holy shit, he actually has an illegal amount of strength. Wait! He's gonna have a perfect amount of strength. No. Yes. Yes, he is. Because at 16, his strength's going to go up to 23, and then at 20, it's going to go up to 24. Ladies and gentlemen, Owlcat figured out how to get to even numbers at level 20. They did it. They did it on, like, 2 of the companions in this fucking game. So it looks like we're just going all the way up. Yeah, see strength going up. Looks like we're just going all the way up Barbarian Armor with Hulk right now. Animal Fury. Yeah, considering the fact that most of these are not going to be useful, like Beast Totem is basically the only other choice that we really want. But Animal Fury gives us a bite, it gives us an extra attack, which is great. And is actually better than the 2 claw attacks because we're not going to be using 2 claw attacks. So yeah, Animal Fury is fine. And then we get dodge. Great. Is there another, wait, is there any attack feats that we want to see? Outside of teamwork, we're not getting teamwork feats. We could go full meme and completely ignore Hammer the Cap and go Vital Strike. No, that would be trash. Especially, well, like, it wouldn't be bad if we took it 2 levels ago and, you know, just put improved critical here. And then we could get Vital Strike improved and greater Vital Strike, but it's a bit late for that now. Crippling blows. Okay, so wait. Increases by 1 point in duration, increases for 1 round for every 4 levels the barbarian has beyond 8. So at 12 it goes to 2, 16 it goes to 3, 20 it goes to 4. Okay. Every first successful. Okay. I was trying to read this really carefully to see if this stacks. It's really strange how this is worded, because it doesn't mention whether or not it stacks once the duration increases. Because obviously at base it can't, right? Because it's only the first attack per round. It only lasts one round, so it cannot stack. However, as soon as you start increasing the duration, you start getting overlap. So on round 2, can you get it to -4 and -4 for 4 rounds? Or sorry, -4 for 2 rounds? Or for 1 round? Anyway, so like, you know what I'm describing this poorly. But like, okay, so say you're level 12, which we might get to. No, we actually can't. Never mind, it doesn't fucking matter. We can't actually get to level 12. We can't get to a level 12 barbarian. We can only get to level 10 because we already got 10 levels in something else. So it doesn't matter, not for this character. For other people, maybe, but not for this guy. Doesn't matter. It's only ever going to be a -1 for 1 round, which is trash, and you should just get the beast totem, right? Critical focus. He is using one of the few weapons where I would say getting critical feats would be useful. Unfortunately, we get critical focus at level 19, which means we can't get any other critical feats. So that's a very funny fucking thing. Then in level 20, hey, look at that. We actually got an even strength at level 20. Incredible. Internal Fortitude. Immune to the sickened and nauseated conditions. So do you know what also does basically this? Delay Poison Communal. That thing that you get whenever your Divine Caster hits level 5. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. Alright, so we have Limitless Rage, which is great. If you're a barbarian, duh. Right? This is like no-brainer mode. So yes, Limitless Rage is great. Power Attack Mythic is incredible for somebody like this. It's a +5 instead of a +2 on damage. Stacking, right? Like, it's adding a +3 to your power attack damage. It's insane how much this adds up to. Leading Strike. I don't like on this guy because this guy's not going to let somebody live for 3 hits. Oh, no. I'm sorry. That's Exposed Vulnerability. That's not Leading Strike. Hi. Could you, like... Down? Down. There we go. Okay. Yeah, I was thinking Exposed Vulnerability where you had to hit him 3 times before it triggers. This is just you hit and then somebody else hits and then you hit and then somebody else hits. I've mentioned before, I'll say it real quick right now. Much better in real time than in turn-based. Is it worth it? I'd probably take Rupture Restraints on him instead. Weapon Focus Mythic Falchion. We never got Greater Weapon Focus Mythic, I don't think. I'll have to take a look once we're done here, but I don't think we ever got Weapon Focus, Greater Weapon Focus, which means that this is just a +1 to attack, which I don't think is worth taking a Mythic feat for. Last Stand is fine. I still think I would rather have Rupture Restraints, but Last Stand is fine. Weapon Specialization Mythic is... It's a good chunk of extra damage. I'd probably wait until 8 or 10 to pick it, but it's fine here. Like right now, it's an extra +3 to damage. It'll be a +5 once we get to level 10. Mythic Charge? This would be a lot better if we went down the Beast Totem path. Feel like he's only good. He is definitely a mess. He is definitely a mess of a character. He's got way too many classes that don't really do anything for him. Killing the purple rock monster. Oh, the crystal boys? I'm sure. Like, he seems like he is very good at doing damage. He just doesn't do much else. He's going to do a shit ton of damage with that falchion that he's got, but he's not going to do much else. Improve critical mythic. Yeah, if you don't take this, you're doing something wrong here. Like, the fact that they waited until Mythic 8. I mean, granted, you're picking him up whenever you're at, what, Mythic 5, I think? Because, yeah, 6 comes whenever... Yeah, 6 is whenever you're talking to Nocticula. 7 is right after you fight Baphomet. And then 8 is whenever you're having the convo with Nocticula and what's-her-face? The god lady. Wait. Oh, yeah, this is shittier Rupture Restraints. I don't like this. I don't like this. This is bad. This is bad. Take Rupture Restraints. It's better every time. It's always better to take Rupture Restraints than Unstoppable. I can't think of a single time where Unstoppable would be better. Flawless attacks. Again, this is really shit just because he doesn't have that many attacks. Could get an extra feat here. Extra mythic ability, which I don't think actually matters. Could get dodge mythic. I mean, hell, you have Bull Rush. You could get Bull Rush mythic. Mythic Resolve. Oh, yeah, here, what are his saves? Oh, yeah, his saves are real bad. Oh, yeah, wait, no. Yeah. Matt's right. Destructive Shockwave is great on him. His strength bonus is insane. And it's only going to get better. Destructive Shockwave is going to be really fucking good on him. That is actually a really good point. I would take that over everything else. Alright, so let's take a look. Do you have greater weapon focus or no? No, you do not. So we took weapon focus mythic, but then again, we were like, well, there's not really... Ugh. So, like, the thing about martial characters is the vast majority of the time, a martial character is going to require a ton of mythic feats. The fact that we ran out of mythic feats, where I was like, this would be really, really important for this character to have. And he's nothing but a martial character, just goes to show how little he actually does. Like, this guy does one thing. He charges into the fight, and then he just cleaves everything to death. That's what he does. It's all he does. Matt, I would be okay if they went all in on Barbarian instead of Fighter. If they would have taken Beast Totem all the way through to get pounce. Instead of powerful stance, scent, and crippling blows, if they took lesser, normal, and greater beasts, you cannot go all the way. Oh, they're level locked. Is the greater totem like a level 12 or something? Doesn't say anything about it. Two-handed fighter gets good boost. Oh, I'm sure it does. Like, I'm not even trying to say that it doesn't. I'm just, if Pounce would make it the barbarian worthwhile. Pounce would make the barbarian worthwhile. But if we can't get Pounce because of... If we can't get Pounce because it's level locked, which because of the way that these things are designed, I can't actually tell. Right? Like, it just gives me the description. It doesn't tell me any prereqs or anything like that for it. Jesus. RP wise, yes, but fuck RP. RP's trash. Get out of here with that shit. It's not why I play role-playing games. Yeah. Like, he definitely, yeah, it definitely does. But in a game like this, especially since he's so hard to recruit, because you have to pick very specific dialogue options to get him to join the party. And if you don't know what dialogues to pick, and it's from fucking chapter 1, it's not just like once you get into Owlcat, you know, you can just go back, you know, oh man, I just lost an hour of work, but I can go back and rush through it real quick. No, it's from fucking chapter 1. You have to consistently pick the right dialogue options with Social to recruit Trevor. And then even then, you get him and it's like, oh, I'm not going to ever use this guy. Sorry, chapter 2. Yeah. You're right. Yeah, I didn't get him on my first playthrough. I got him on my most recent one. He was integral in my level 1, I'm sorry, not level 1, in my no experience challenge. In my no experience challenge, Trevor was a fucking godsend. Him and Ivu. Trevor and Ivu were godsends in my no XP challenge run. I was actually a little bit disappointed in that run because it ended up being fairly easy. It's disappointing. How'd I do that? I turned the XP modifier to 0 in Toy Box. So whenever we recruited a party member, that's the highest level they ever got. We never got to choose any of their actual do it on unfair. Fuck you. That is like the one caveat. I played it on the easiest difficulty because I figured it was going to be far more difficult than it was. But yeah, we were able to pick mythic levels. Like, the only restriction was no experience. Anything else I could use, but no experience. So mythic levels I was able to make use of. So I was able to get Ivu and get her up to her max power. And then she and Trevor were the ones that carried us through the end game, because he came in at level 14. And I was able to buy enough scrolls. I think it was scrolls of higher level spells that I could use to buff those two. Mephistopheles? I don't remember. I don't remember. Like, the run was on story difficulty, because, you know, I feel like that's valid if we're doing no experience. If I'm stuck with a level 1 main character, I feel like it's valid to play through on story difficulty. Because he could just get blown the fuck up at any point. So I might have been able to cheese something through that. But it's been a hot minute since I played through that. I can't really remember exactly how everything went down. It was definitely a fucking thing, though. It kind of felt weird once I got it done. Auto build playthrough? Basically, yeah. Auto builds up through their recruiting spot, yeah. And yeah, I think, oh, what was our party? It was basically whoever was the highest level characters. That's who was in my party. Like, the people that we recruited later on, that's who we had. So we had, like, Trevor, Greybor, Arushalae. I think I had Social as my healer, because he was the highest level healer that we could get. Recruiting the queen on that run would be a good idea. It would have, had I known that it was possible. But I did not. I did not realize that that was something that I could do. So we did not do that. I think I was a druid. My character, I think, was a druid, because I wanted to be able to cast scrolls without having to use UMD checks. So I wanted to make sure that I had a character with every spell available in their spell book, whether it's actually learned or not, right? So, like, my character was a druid. I had Social, Arushalae, Trevor, Greybor. I can't remember who my 6th was. Was it Reggie? Did I just have Reggie in there? Maybe. I can't remember. Yeah, he is definitely one of the higher level ones that you get. Yeah, I'm just trying to remember. Oh, no. I'm sorry. It was Nenio. It was Nenio for the full arcane spell list. That's what it was. So we had Druid, Nenio for arcane, Druid for nature, Social for divine, and then these three. Literally these three were my actual damage dealers. That's who we had. We did play with Reggie until we got Trevor, though. Yeah. What do we want to do now? We have like an hour. These two took 0 time whatsoever to get through. What do we want to do? Check the assassin notes. Are they out? Here. I'm gonna exit the game. Because we're done with that one. LaBerry. Ooh, patch notes for City Skylines. Older than the archetypes. Oh. Okay, yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. And then we can look over the City Skylines patch notes as well. I doubt that they'll be super extensive because it looks like it's a fairly small patch, but it'll be interesting to see what they got since they just released. Over the 2 years since Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous was released, we've identified the least popular class and the one that you, our favorite players, have been asking us to improve. We have listened and are delighted to announce that the Assassin class has been redesigned and upgraded in Update 2.2 to be available on November 21st with the Lord of Nothing DLC. We understand the main problem with the old Assassin was using poisons in a world where most enemies are immune to poisons. Yeah, kinda. Added new mythic feats that allow you to ignore this immunity. Cover the new mythic feats in a separate article. But for now, let's focus on the changes to the Assassin. Instead of Death Attack, added a new ability called Mark of Death. This standard action requires you to make a knowledge check appropriate to the creature type. If the check is successful, you point to a target with a mark. As long as the creature is marked, your attacks against it ignore its DR and resistance. Yeah, just maybe. Just maybe. It can only have one victim marked at a time. At the 7th level, it's swift action. Okay. New mechanics, assassinate target. Assassin can make a full round action that instantly kills a target marked with Mark of Death. Target unaware of the assassin, you must sneak up on the target. Must make a fortitude save. Gross. Alright, so this is useless. This is useless. See if they implement it. We might just do that. On a success, this assassin attack is treated as a critical hit. Still needs to be confirmed, and the target gains the shaking condition for 1d4 rounds. After that, assassinate target cannot be reapplied to the target for 1 day. This is terrible. This is terrible. Yeah, fort saves. Oops, fort saves are just too high in this for that to be worthwhile. Second level, the assassin gains the use poison ability. Also improve this progression, including how it interacts with other class mechanics. Now, if you apply poison to a target marked with Mark of Death, target must make 2 fort saves and choose the worst result. Okay, so you give them a disadvantage roll. That's good. As the poisons do 1d4 stat damage to strength or dex for 4 rounds. That's nice. Third level increases by 1 round. That's useless. At 4th level, con damage. That's really good. Successful saving throws needed to remove the poison. It increases to 2. Okay. Poison duration increases by 1 round. There's a move or swift action. Increases by 1 round. Increases to 3. Assassin's poison target takes poison damage even with successful fortitude check. So why even have the fort change then? Wait. Why even have the fortitude save if it's going to take it even if it saves? Or is it like half damage or something? Okay, so you get a bonus against most mind affecting effects. +2 at first, +4 up at 8th level, and a +3 at 5th. Okay. 3rd level, alter ego, create copies of themselves to distract the enemy, so you get mirror image. Yeah, works like mirror image. Yeah. Public execution. Each time the assassin kills a target, they make a persuasion check. Demoralize all enemies within 30 feet. Okay. Under the influence of Mark of Death, the assassin gets a +2 bonus on this check. Okay, that's interesting. They get free Dreadful Carnage. Just as a fucking class ability. That's interesting. Charisma-based, charisma-based fucking assassins? Are we going to be doing that? Charisma-based assassin classes? Master the art of assassination point. You can deliver a killing blow before the target can react. Can now be used as standard action. Also add sneak attack damage to all attack rolls on a target marked with mark of death, even if you don't have an advantage. Now achieve mastery at slaying demons. Be able to diversify their crusade style with good luck in the world. Okay, so I understand that it's going to be fort saves. All of this stuff is going to be fort saves. Yeah, I'm not entirely sold on it. Like, I would have to see what the saves are based on. Right? And if there's a way to boost them. If they add in something that can boost the saves of class abilities, that would help so many of these classes. So many of these classes I ended up not liking because most of the things that those classes did was like, well, this is just a flat number. You can't boost this no matter what your build is. So if they add in something that's just like, I don't know, your class ability, you know, it's basically spell focus, but for class abilities. If they just put in spell focus, but for class abilities, that would make some of these so much more effective. Because, like, the instant that I read this, I was like, oh, okay, it's your assassin. So, if we look at this, DC 10 plus assassin's level plus intelligence mod. So, if assassins are intelligence-based, that means that you'll want either strength or dex, most likely dex, I'm assuming. Strength or dex, most likely dex, intelligence, charisma, because of the public execution. So that's 3 stats that you want decently high on these characters. If you're going for a dex character, you can dump strength, right? You don't need strength for this. Can't really dump wisdom or con, right? Because you're going to be... You don't want to dump con because you're a melee character, and dumping con is insanity. You don't want to dump wisdom because otherwise you're going to be fucking going crazy and killing your party members. Despite this boost, right? Like, if you dump your wisdom down to 7, this +2 is only going to be undoing that damage that you've done to yourself, right? So, like, I personally don't dump intelligence on any character because I value skill points so much. Maybe a bit more than I should, but I do value skill points a lot. I think part of that comes from me being so used to doing speedruns where I'm solo the entire time. So I need a high number of skill points. So that's probably rolling back into this, why I value them so highly. But you don't want to dump charisma because you have free Dreadful Carnage, which is crazy good. Yeah, the mythic ability, if it's not assassin specific and it just means take this and you can now ignore poison immunity. That brings shit like Cloud Kill Cheese, Stinking Cloud Cheese, like all that stuff. it brings back a lot of stuff that is really interesting to play around. Well, okay, so I guess it's a persuasion check. It is a persuasion check, so you could swap that to wisdom with was it acolyte, the background? You could use the acolyte background to swap this with wisdom. That way you could dump charisma and boost your wisdom instead. I don't think that there's a way to get your charisma or your persuasion skill to be based around intelligence. I don't think you can do that. Also, where was this? This right here. You need to have a decent assassin with no pickpocket. I know, right? I know, right? But it might be worth it. Like, that might be an argument. Which do you go? Do you go pickpocket or do you go acolyte for your assassin? Which is also just really funny to think about. These are the two things. You are either street urchin thiefman or you are priest. One of the two. These are the two assassins in this world. Thieves and priests. But yeah, this right here. You still need to make a knowledge check appropriate to the creature type. Now the question here is, does this character need to make this knowledge check? Or does the party need to make this knowledge check? That's another thing. Because that could then introduce the other, I can't remember the other one, but the other oblate background, the one where all of your lore checks are used with intelligence instead of wisdom. So there's then, if that's the case, if it's this character and not your party, there's then 3 viable backgrounds of varying qualities. Like you could definitely, I think that the intelligence to lore checks is probably going to be the weakest of them. Might make it int, like how they changed War Priest channel. What is War Priest channel, like wisdom now or something? But yeah, if they make public execution intelligence instead of charisma based, like it's still a persuasion check, so you want to put ranks into persuasion, but it uses your intelligence mod instead of charisma. It would make it a slightly less mad class, right? What base class would you use with this? Let's go rogue. Assassin, Woljif. Woljif is alchemist. Always and forever, alchemist Woljif. He has high intelligence. He does have high intelligence. He does actually have very high intelligence. This is true. Would you just go rogue into this? What are the okay, so let's pop open the game real quick. Do you need int on an overwhelming mage to get more spells as you level up? Let me take a quick look at overwhelming mage just so that I don't misquote anything. But for the vast majority of spellcasters, intelligence will boost your spells per day. It will not boost the number of spells that you learn outside of the first level. Level 1 spells on a prepared spellcaster, you will learn more if you have a higher intelligence or spellcasting stat in general. Here, let's just go in real quick, because that would be a wizard archetype. Yeah. Let me just double check. Wait. Is it not? Oh, here it is. Sorcerer. Okay, so as a sorcerer... Okay, so you will not gain more spells that you learn. You will just be able to cast more spells per day. As a sorcerer, there is no way for you to gain more spells per level. No, they are still charisma based. Overwhelming mage tries to increase this your capacity. Okay, so what does overwhelming penetrate? Ah, okay. So what do you gain and what do you lose? Ah, you lose the bonus feats, the bloodline feats. Okay. Sacrifice spell law, third level or higher to increase the saving throw DC of the next spell equal to 1/3 of the sacrifice spell level. I'm a huge fan of that, honestly. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Potentially, you could get a bonus 2 if you're looking at this archetype. Yeah. Intelligence is not important for a sorcerer. A dumb mage. Basically. Yeah, the word mage threw me. Because anytime I think of mage, I think wizard. I thought for sure that it would be in here. Number of spell cast with number of spell slots. I definitely did that back when I was getting started. For sure. I did that a lot. Alright, so we're gonna take another look here. LaBerry patched us for this. Okay, let's take a look at City Skylines patch. This is far smaller than the last one we just read. So increased leisure probability to balance the no customer situation with commercial companies. Improve balance of companies' profit. Tuned down companies ordering input resources when their storage doesn't have enough space. Oh my god. Walmart needs to start this. Oh, I got a story about that, by the way. We'll talk about that once we finish looking at this. Fixed trade resource bug, preventing some resources from being consumed. Fixed miscalculation in college university eligible count. I hope it boosts how many people we can have, because I've noticed in both of my cities, the number of people that I have going to college and university is way lower than it should be. Improve conditions for companies to move away when bankrupt. Having problems to run the game. I haven't had that many. Like, I've found some stuttering every once in a while, but I haven't had any major issues with the game. Fix a dependency error with land value causing potential instability. Issue where loading a new map would cause water state to get out of sync with the save data. Emission intensity. I don't know what that means. Optimizations for area lights. That should help with performance issues. Prefer rendering small objects after large ones when possible to improve GPU performances. There you go. Shadow LOD. LOD. I don't know what that means. I don't know what LOD calculations are. Irrelevant shadowcasters earlier. Level of detail. Thank you. So this right here, trees and alpha clipped objects would lead to virtual texturing space running out. Citizens hang around at park areas on regular building lots, never getting inside the building. Decreased resolution of unnecessary large character textures. Removed spasm radio ad. Due to offensive content, gross. Let's detail it as. Gotcha. Missing localization idea for Paradox account leaking. So it looks like a lot of optimization fixing, a lot of a few bug fixes, stuff like that. That's good. That's really good. And now for a little bit of story time. So, you know, as people may know, I work at the Wally World. I work at Walmart. I'm an overnight stocker. My job is we put things on the shelves, make sure that it's all there and ready to be sold the next day. Well, most of this week I've been in the dairy department. I've been on the cheese wall. Talked about this a little bit yesterday, but we got a new story today. So we have 3 coolers. Like 3 big walk-in coolers that we use in the store. We got one for produce, one for the meat department, and one for the dairy department. All right. Well, usually sometime throughout our shift, the meat and produce truck gets here, and we all have to stop what we're doing, go back there, pull the pallets, and put them where they need to go. Well, it got there fairly early last night, which is kind of irrelevant to the story, but it happened. Produce is like vegetables, fruits, stuff like that. Fresh produce. Yeah. Oh yeah, so one of the things that we will do in the dairy department is, because the meat cooler is right next to the cheese wall, sometimes, especially when we're getting ready, we will take one cheese pallet over and we will put it into the meat cooler, separated away from the meat and everything, obviously, so that there's no cross-contamination. But, plus everything's already in sealed packages and everything. But yeah, so we'll take the cheese pallet over there, and then, you know, we'll pull it out once the actual meat and produce truck gets here, so that we're not blocking up areas for those. And what I noticed when I pulled it in, I'm like, that's weird. They had 3 pallets already in there, which happens. That's not the weird part. The weird part is where they were positioned. They were positioned such that they were positioned in such a way that they were blocking roughly half of the cooler. So we would walk in, little bit of space, pallets, and then more space behind the pallets that, you know, without moving those pallets, we can't get to. I'm like, well, that sucks. That's really irritating. It's like not the biggest deal, but I don't have time to deal with this right now. I got to get back, because one of the things about the sorry, not the produce department, but the dairy department is, our freight is not separated out into the separate areas. So like yogurt is mixed in with the prepackaged like lunch meat sex stuff. the lunch meat stuff is actually mixed in with the rest of the dairy stuff. So things like Lunchables, like summer sausages, hot dogs, stuff like that. You know, like processed meat stuff is mixed in with the dairy stuff. Don't ask me why. I have no idea. But anyway, we have to separate all that stuff out, and then we go and we can put it on the shelves because they just come lumped into big fucking pallets. So we're in the middle of that. I take the first cheese pallet that we had filled up over there, drop it off. I come back, and we're working. And then about 10 minutes later, PA system pops on. Everybody needs to come back and pull the meat and produce truck. Well, fuck. That's really early. Like, this is like a little after 11 o'clock at night. For reference, meat and produce truck usually gets there about 1:30 in the morning. So it's like 2 hours early. And is one of the earliest times that I've ever actually seen it coming. Now, it's not that big of a deal for me. I'm like, all right, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go pull my cheese pallet out. I'll leave it out for a few minutes. You know, it's not that big of a deal. And then once they get that cooler reorganized and everything, if there's space, I'll pull it back in there. If not, I'll just fucking bite the bullet and pull it all the way back to the produce cooler. Or, sorry, not the produce, the dairy cooler. Well, we're back there. We're doing our thing. We're still down stacking. And suddenly, people are pulling meat pallets into the dairy cooler, saying that the meat cooler's full. I'm like, I know for a fact it's not. They're like, no, there was pallets blocking it. I'm like, yeah, but there's space behind those pallets. They're like, no. This guy said that there's a bunch of carts behind those pallets, and they can't move it. I'm like, I know for a fact that that's not right. I know for a fact that that's bullshit. So I walk over there, and I actually go around behind, because there's another entrance. There's two entrances to the meat cooler. I go through the back entrance, and yeah, there were carts there, but they are carts that are like maybe 2 feet wide. For those of you metric nerds, it's about 2/3 of a meter. You know, meter is roughly 3 feet, so it's about 2 feet or 2/3 of a meter wide. And they had these running up single file long ways up the wall behind those other pallets. And somebody was telling everybody that it was completely full back there. I took 2 minutes to consolidate all of those carts together instead of having them spread out all over the fucking place. And there was suddenly space for 6 more pallets in that cooler. And yet they had dropped, I think it was 4 pallets in the dairy cooler because somebody was too lazy to move those carts. I was losing my mind because that makes our job so much more difficult, because suddenly we have no room to move around in that dairy cooler. Got no room to move around. We got no room to downstack our stuff, which we need to, like, we're still pulling stuff off of pallets and putting it on other pallets. And now we got to work around all these extra 4 pallets that are in there. And it was all because somebody was too lazy to move some carts around. I was losing it. And it was also partly due to the fact that it was set up that way to begin with, right? And this has been a problem at my store for a while now, where overnights we are constantly held accountable whenever we leave anything out at the end of our shift, whether it be a shopping cart with cardboard in it because the cardboard baler is full. We forget a top stock cart, which is basically just a tall cart with a little step ladder on it that helps us get up to the top shelves, either to pull stuff down off of them and put them where they're actually supposed to go, or to put stuff up there so we don't have to pull it back to the back room. If you've been to a Walmart, you'll probably see that there's like on the very top of the shelf, there's just like a random assortment of bullshit up there. We call that top stock. We use top stock carts to put stuff up there and pull it down. Well, if you forget a top stock cart out in your aisle, we get yelled at. You leave a cardboard, a shopping cart full of cardboard in the back because the baler's full and it's going to take a half hour for them to empty it out, and it's the end of your shift. I'm not going to stay there for a half hour waiting for somebody else to do their job because they didn't do it already, right? Sorry, I would like to go home at the end of my shift. I don't know about you guys, but I like going home when my work is done. We get yelled at for that stuff. But for whatever reason, first shift and second shift consistently get away with this stuff. And I was talking, and like, this is one of the reasons why I don't like going into management, is because I will be the asshole that will start cracking down on the shit like this, because it drives me insane. It's like, you guys are making our jobs more difficult because you're too lazy to do yours. And I don't like being an asshole. I don't like being the dick, but I will in those situations. So instead, I just tell my bosses that they need to be assholes instead, so it's not my problem. But yeah, that was the beginning of my night last night. And I'm really hoping that some bullshit isn't the same tonight, because actually, I don't fucking care. It's my Friday. I don't give a damn. I'm gonna go in there. All of my give a fucks are gonna be broken tonight. I'm just gonna do my job and go home. So yeah, that's a... There's actually more people working at Walmart overnight than there is during the day. No, the reason that they can get away with it, and we can't, is because by the time they go home... Oh, you mean clients? I gotcha. But like this kind of stuff, like the stuff in the coolers and stuff like that, that has nothing to do with the customers. And actually, most of the work that like people in the meat department and people in the produce department and stuff like that, most of the stuff that they are doing has absolutely nothing to do with the customers. Stocking shelves, pulling stuff out, that kind of stuff. Yeah, they have to pay attention to what the customers are buying so that they know what to restock throughout the day. But that does not mean that they get to, you know, just leave their entire thing completely fucked every day. And actually, so I did say that I'm not going to stay there for a half hour after I get to the end of my shift. I've only had to do that once ever. Actually twice, and it was this week actually. My Monday and Tuesday this week, which is actually Tuesday, Wednesday. But the first 2 days this week I was there until 7:15 the first day, and then 7:30 the second day almost. So like, I will stay late if I absolutely need to get the job done, because I actually do like getting my job done. But like yesterday, if there was something, fortunately yesterday and the day before, my last 2 days were a fair bit easier once I got past the first, 2 hours and was actually able to get to stocking things. But goddamn, it's just one of those things where, like, if it was like a one-time thing, that would be one thing, but it's like a consistent thing. No, my Walmart is it closes at 10 p.m. I'm sorry, it closes at 11 p.m., opens at 6 a.m. It's not 24/7. Hasn't been since the Rona hit. It's never been 24/7 since I worked there. But I have worked at grocery stores during open hours, so I do know how those jobs interact with customers throughout the day. So it's not like I don't have any idea of the difference between what I do and what they do, because I've done their job. in the past. It's been a few years. I was 18 when I did that job. I'm now 35. So, you know, roughly half a lifetime ago. Jesus Christ, it was half a lifetime ago. Wow, I feel old now. But yeah, that's actually one of the many reasons that I started working there, is that it wasn't 24/7. It's like, I don't want to deal with people. I just want to get my job done and go home. Last two jobs I had, actually the last three jobs I had, were all very like customer front facing, customer, you know, I was talking to customers all the time, whether it be when I was an Uber driver, manager at the hospital, manager at the Pizza Hut. I was constantly talking to customers on all of them. Customers in Uber, obviously meaning the passengers. I was just like, I don't want to deal with them anymore. With clients at 3 in the morning? No thanks. No, thank you. Especially after hearing some of the stories of the people that were there before it stopped being 24/7. Because it used to be. And hearing some of their stories, I'm like, yeah, no, I'm real glad that I've never had to deal with that. And they have no plans of reopening up 24/7. Despite the fact that when they stopped being 24/7, I was pissed because I was one of the people that was there at 2 in the morning. But I'm also somebody that would just go in, get my stuff, and get the fuck out. It just so happened that I've always been, you know, I've always kind of lived on vampire hours, so it just worked out for me. But yeah. God, I can't wait for this week to be over. It's like every day I'm like, man, I have like 2.5 hours of sick time that I could use up if I just wanted to take the rest of the day off. There's so many times where I'm like, maybe I just leave at like 4:30. Oh no, I have Ebola. I have to go home before I kill everybody. Bye. That kind of thing. But yeah, speaking of bye, I think I'm gonna head out. Cause I'm kind of running out of things to say. And I don't really feel like popping up another game right now. I kind of want to just chill. So yeah, I think we're gonna call it a little bit early. This was the last of our... Oh, hey, by the way, if you want to see... I forgot I had this popped open. This is me keeping track of my calories for the last 4 days. I have been trying to lose some weight. This is something that I used way back in the day. I was actually able to lose 30 pounds just by using this, or a sheet like this, to keep track of my calorie intake and just making sure that these numbers are negative. Kind of fucked up on the second. This is also not entirely accurate. I forgot to put in what I ate for lunch and dinner. Or no, sorry, this is just dinner that I forgot. And I can't remember what I ate that day, so I can't actually add that in. But, yeah. Started this back on, like, the 20th, and I'm down about 4 pounds from there. So, because I started off, and this was consistently about 245, 246. So now it's down, you know, yesterday was 241.2, today was 242.2, or 241.8. So I'm down about 4 pounds. So, it is working. I would show you the one, that I had for last month, but I accidentally, so, whenever I make a new, because I only do these monthly, whenever I adjusted it for November, I accidentally saved over my October one, so I don't have any. My October one is now dead. But yeah, I've been doing this since about the 20th, and yeah, I'm down about 4 pounds. And some of these were way over. Like, I think on Halloween night or the day before, something like that. I just like pigged the fuck out and I was at like plus 1,600 calories for that day. So, you know, but yeah, basically what it is I'll do this and then it's like, oh yeah, 1/8 of an egg casserole is 300 calories. So I just put in how many of those, because I always cut it into eighths. And it auto calculates everything. Bacon strips, the ones that I get are about 35 calories per slice of bacon. So all of this stuff, I have a whole bunch of things that I like will eat a lot of, so I just have it put in, and then I have a miscellaneous over here at the end, which I've been eating a lot of random things lately. So most of my calorie intake has been, as you can see already today, this is just breakfast. I already ate most of my caloric intake for the day because I got Arby's. That was a bad idea. It's also the reason that I spent like 10 minutes in the bathroom halfway through this stream. Arby's does not agree with me too much. But yeah, I forgot I had this open in the background. Just eat sleep for dinner. I mean, yesterday, my dinner was 360 calories. The 900 was for earlier in the day. But yeah, I just had fried pickle chips. Fried pickles are fucking delicious. Oh, I did forget one thing for yesterday. No. Ranch. I dipped them in ranch. Fried pickle chips, dip them in ranch. Fucking delicious. Even if you don't dip them in ranch, it's still really, really good. And yeah, I had like, I just killed off the bag and it was about 2 servings, which is about 360 calories, and that's what I had for dinner last night. But yeah, that's a thing. But yeah, I'm gonna go. Thank you everybody for hanging out and watching and all that good stuff. I appreciate you all as always. And as always, I hope you all enjoyed the stream. I hope you all have a good evening and I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.